Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli the Computer Guy. This is Roxy the Chihuahua here for the Daily Blob, where I shake my brain nips every day to get some of that dirty YouTube money so I can afford to provide in-person hands-on technology education in Durham, North Carolina. So we're doing classes now, kind of focused in the AI world. It's more focused on Python and SQL and that kind of stuff, but we AI wash it. So anyways, we did a class on Llama last week. We're doing a class on OpenAI API next week, and we're going to be having more and more of those classes. If you're interested, go to silicondojo.com, see what classes we have coming up, and RSVP if you want to. And it's kind of hard to do this when I've got a puppy in an arm. Puppy's like, yep, this is where I should be. Anyways, the story I want to talk about today is how Sam Altman has no morals. Sam Altman is very angry that he thinks that you think he should have any morality. That is just disgusting. You know what his morality is? He needs another couple billions of dollars. So anyways, a little exercise there. Coming from CNBC, Sam Altman says OpenAI isn't, quote, moral police for the world after Erotica ChatGPT post blows up. That's right. Sam Altman doesn't understand why people are concerned that he has no morality. It is interesting with him coming out talking about this whole Erotica thing and being moral police of the world. Because have you heard about the accusations that comes from his sister? Those are some pretty nasty allegations coming from Sam Altman's sister, which would make you think he'd be a little bit more careful about, the whole moral issues with his technology companies. But anyways, that's the thing about the brain syphilis that the folks in Silicon Valley have. Even when it's quite obvious why they should be careful about moral issues, they still, they are masters of the universe. How dare anybody question them? So I talked about this before. We did a video. OpenAI is going to start allowing erotica onto ChatGPT. For some reason, to be clear, my bias with this, I don't really have a lot of bias with this. I don't care. Dude, I've been to sex clubs. I haven't done it. That was weird. Oh, it's nothing quite so depressing as going to a San Francisco sex club. I was there at the sex club. Oh my God. It was, it's called the Power Exchange. I don't know, 20 some odd years ago. My friend and his girlfriend wanted to go there. So I was like, sure, I'll go to the sex club. Oh, it was so sad. So I was there and, I was trying to figure out what was going on. I don't know. I gotta read the room. I gotta read the room before you dive in. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm trying to figure out what's going on and all that. And oh my God, this hot guy, God bless, really attractive woman walks up to me and is like, hey. And I was just like, I wasn't quite comfortable yet. I wasn't like, Anyway, so I was like, not yet. Anyways, and I was like, it's not you. I'm just not quite there yet. And this look that went over her face, like her entire face just fucking dropped. It's me. You see everything deflate out of this woman in the sex club. And I realized, wow, this is some fucking depressing ass shit right there. There are more things. It was just a depressing night. I have never been so depressed seeing so much sex in my life. But anyways, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, I'm not anti the moral thing. I think about that depressed one. I think about that really young, right? It wasn't like she was some 60-year-old trying to prove something to the world. Man, this woman was like 23. She was fucking hot. I just didn't know what the hell was going on yet. And just to see everything just fucking drain out of her when I was like, oh no. Oh. Anyways, I'm not anti the erotica. But I do wonder what the effects of this kind of stuff are. Like I say, when I think about that woman in particular, and other things I saw that night, very weird. Like, But anyways, with the whole ChatGPT thing, it is interesting that they're going down the erotica route because it brings up questions. Even if you're not, against it morally, even if you're not against it ethically, there are some questions there about is it right product market fit, right, for a business, right? You have ChatGPT. The idea is that they're supposed to be saving the universe, that they're supposed to be more dangerous than nuclear weapons, right? You hear about all this stuff with artificial intelligence, what we're being sold on, right? The reason that they need $4 trillion in capex expenses, the reason that they're supposed to be worth $500 billion, their valuation, the reason that they're supposed to suck up all of the water in arid areas so that, the people that currently live there can fucking die of dehydration so long as AI is successful, right? That's all very high-minded stuff. And it is weird. It's weird that ChatGPT or OpenAI is going down the Erotica route. Not even simply splitting off into a different company, right? This is, like GM, right? You look at car companies, there's a whole bunch of, like one umbrella company owns a lot of children companies, essentially. It's parent and child companies. It's weird that they're not spinning off into like a different company. Like we are going to have an emotional AI. This is Emote GPT, one of the many products under the OpenAI brand, right? That could be an interesting thing. But the fact that they're dumping this directly into ChatGPT is questionable on any number of fronts, right? But anyways, so Sam Altman is surprised that people, are concerned about the morality of this, right? OpenAI CEO Sam Altman said Wednesday that the company is, quote, not the elected moral police of the world after receiving backlash over his decision to loosen restrictions and allow content like erotica within his chatbot, ChatGPT. And again, understand, this is under the core brand. The core brand is where they're going to start allowing erotica. Does that make sense? Just from a business standpoint, right? And then he's coming out and saying, we are not the moral police of the world. The weird part about this, though, is as he talks about he's not the moral police of the world, then what about all these fucking guardrails? Like, what's weird when we talk about AI safety? Like, when I first heard about AI safety, I thought it was going to be keeping kids from learning how to make chemical weapons. Let me be clear my bias. I do not believe ChatGPT should teach you how to make sarin gas, right? That's a safety issue. But one of the weird things, as we've seen in the safety guide rails over the years, is it's not. Like again, I use ChatGPT in order to create my thumbnail images and that type of thing. And it's amazing what it won't allow. Like it will say, I'm not allowed to do X, Y, or Z. And then you ask it to do it in a slightly different way. You switch some words around, and then it's like, sure, it does it, right? But they put guardrails in there for safety, right? It can do this and it can't do that, right? Misgendering somebody. Again, and to be clear, when I say this, don't fucking misgender people. It's not nice. On the other hand, it's not my biggest fucking concern when it comes to artificial intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Like, dead naming people. Again, to be clear, don't do it. But is this really a safety issue, right? Anyways, and what we've seen over the past number of years is that when they talk about our AI safety, it gets into just weird esoteric crap. Again, not how to make chemical weapons or whatever else. It's all this other crap. And so it is weird now that he's surprised that people would push back on the morality of putting out, erotica on a ChatGPT when we know how much this is gonna fuck people up. Right? We know what's happened with social media. As I've talked before, again, the weird thing I find when I talk with young men. Young men now prefer Pornhub over boob. You're like, I know you like Pornhub, but might I suggest, boob. Have you tried a real boob? I know you're into all this artificial stuff, but real is quite lovely. Anyways, we now have a generation of young men, and I've talked with these fuckers who literally think trying to go after women is not worth the time. Eli, why should I spend the effort? And I'm like, I don't understand the question. What? It's a boob. Have you ever? They're nice. Boob is nice. You don't want boob? Like you can hold it in your hand, you can play with it. They're just, it's a boob for Christ. I'm an autistic motherfucker and I know boob is good. Anyways, the weird part that we find is that, again, a lot of young male adults right now. Again, Pornhub is good enough. So when you start adding erotica into something like ChatGPT, there is this real question of are people going to start connecting more and more with that over, actually having real person interactions, and how dangerous that is. I think about this with Hank Green. God bless Hank Green. You want to talk about like the Mr. Rogers of the YouTube world? That's Hank Green. Anyways, I was watching a podcast he was doing with somebody, and they were talking about all the weird stuff in the modern world, and he was talking about VR porn. My God, Hank Green talking about VR porn. That's a podcast you may or may not want to watch. Anyways, the thing he was saying about with VR porn is that if you put the VR glasses on, it really makes it feel like if you see porn, if you go to Pornhub, right, you got a screen, you're looking at a screen. Right? The thing he was saying with VR porn is it feels like they're looking into your eyes. It feels like, right? And how fucked up that is. Like if that's your, right, that's your interaction with sexualization, especially as a young person. And now you have a ChatGPT, and they want your sexualization as a person to be coming through artificial intelligence, and they don't. They don't seem to see the issues here. Anyways, the artificial intelligence startup has expanded its safety controls in recent months as it faced mounting scrutiny over how it protects users, particularly minors. But Altman said Tuesday in a post on X that OpenAI will be, quote, will be able to, quote, safely relax most restrictions now that it has new tools that it has been able to mitigate, quote, serious mental health issues. In December, Altman said it will allow more content, including erotica, on ChatGPT for verified adults. Altman tried to clarify the move in a post on X on Wednesday, saying OpenAI cares, quote, very much about the principle of treating adult users like adults, but it will not allow, quote, things that cause harm to others. It's also weird, as I say, with this whole safety thing. I don't know what their fucking safety policy is, right? I miss the old days of policies in terms of service. Our terms of service can't be done to do things that are illegal. Done. I understand that. This stuff nowadays, it's like, well, we're going to mitigate serious mental health issues. But even think about that, again, especially in the modern world. Okay, they're mitigating. Well, you've got to understand with mitigation doesn't stop. It just tries to decrease the amount of damage from an event. So mitigation, when I learned about mitigation, right? Emergency services, emergency response type things. How can you mitigate for disasters? So let's say you have a house that's in a floodplain. You can't stop the floodplain from flooding every once in a while. So one of the ways that you can mitigate the damage from a flood that you know will occur is you can raise the house up so that it should be above flood stage, right? That mitigates, that limits the damage done by this known danger. So even think about how they're saying this, able to mitigate, right? We are limiting the serious mental health damage that is going to be done from our systems that we know are dangerous. Anyways, in the same way that society differentiates other appropriate boundaries, R-rated movies, for example, we want to do a similar thing here, Altman wrote. And the real question that you have to ask with this particular product is why, right? Pornhub uses real-time media protocol. Pornhub uses H.264, right? YouTube uses real-time media protocol. YouTube uses H.264. They might use a different codec, but you get the same point, right? Pornhub uses the same, more or less the same tech stack, the same type of tech stack that YouTube does. YouTube does not do porn. Pornhub does not do YouTube. Why? Because even if you're using the same stack, it's a good idea to have different products, right? Offered by different companies so that you don't get a whole lot of weird crap, mixing being involved. So it is interesting here, like the idea that Sam Altman wants ChatGPT to be associated with perversion. I think about that for a second. How fucked up is that? Right, he wants ChatGPT to be associated with erotica. He wants ChatGPT to be associated with sexualization and the whole 9 yards. And it's a very weird thing to do, right? So back when we had channels, right, there was Skinamax. Do you remember Skinamax? I remember Skinamax. Cinemax at 10 o'clock at night. 10 o'clock at night, there was a pay-for movie channel called Cinemax, basically like HBO or Showtime. And at 10 o'clock at night, they did softcore porn. They just did. Look, I was young at one point too. Anyways, 10 o'clock at night, you grab your beer, you watch some softcore porn. That is what Cinemax was. Their branding was a Skinamax. Everybody knew what the fuck Skinamax meant, right? Disney Plus, or Disney, the Disney Channel back in the day, did not have softcore porn ever. Right? And there's a reason. Disney Channel is for kids. Cinemax is for, people who don't want to actually go out and buy Playboys or whatever else, right? That's brand differentiation there. One of the curious things, and it's the weird thing that's going on in Silicon Valley and so many issues, is the whole thought that he doesn't want that differentiation. He believes softcore porn should be broadcast on the Disney Channel. Again, does that fundamentally make sense? The posts are at odds with comments Altman made during a podcast appearance in August, where he said he was proud of OpenAI's ability to resist certain features like a sex bot avatar that could boost engagement on ChatGPT. Quote, there's a lot of short-term stuff we could do that would really juice growth or revenue and be very misaligned with our long-term goal, Altman said. So basically, not that long ago, he said we could do a sex bot, but we're not going to because that's not a good business idea. And now, strangely enough, after they get a $500 billion valuation, they are getting erotica. Eli, erotica is not the same as a sex bot. Sure. Anyways, we will see how this goes, and we'll see basically what the backlash looks like, and where ChatGPT goes. My biggest concern with this, as far as OpenAI is concerned, is just why this is fundamentally not a good business idea. And when I say this, it's not that AI should not be used for sex or erotica. It's not even that OpenAI shouldn't have like XGPT, right? Come up with a brand identity for adults, right? What's weird here is that he's putting this into the core ChatGPT stack. Like that to me is what's concerning, because what it looks like to me, they got the fuck way out over their skis. Their valuation is so fucking insanely high now. They know there's not a goddamn thing they can do to actually prove that valuation. And so basically what they're doing is they're scrambling to try to figure out how to goose the numbers. And that's my actual concern with this horse crap. And then the thing too is, again, when you start talking about morality, again, right, when Sam Altman says OpenAI isn't the moral police of the world, and he started talking about morality, again, it's also interesting that he wants to go down this route with the accusations that are over his head from his fucking sister. Right? Not from the secretary 20 years ago, not from the girlfriend when he was 14 years old, not from somebody when he went to his party. His fucking sister's accusations. You have somebody coming out and saying, I don't understand why I should be responsible for this morality. Right? That could be a little bit more questionable. So what do you think about this? What do you think about the erotica coming to ChatGPT? What do you think about, I don't know, all this stuff? What do you think about sex clubs? Have you ever gone to a sex club? In North Carolina, I will tell you this, North Carolina and swinging, What the fuck is it with North Carolina and swinging? I've never seen this shit in my life. It seems like I'll be sitting there, I'll be drinking a beer with somebody, and then they'll just, the whole wife swapping thing here. I don't know, it's weird. Adult sexuality is weird, kids. Adult sexuality is weird. I was having this conversation. I was drinking some beers. I was talking to this person I like. Oh my God, all of a sudden it goes into this whole swinging. There's like this whole swinging thing. And again, it's only since I've been to North Carolina, right? In Baltimore, nobody I know swung in Baltimore. Never fucking came up. I spent so much of my adult life in Baltimore. Nobody talked about swinging up there. You come down to North Carolina, they're all, I don't know what the fuck they're doing down here. Anyways, and aside, maybe there's a lot of value in erotica for OpenAI. Anyways, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about swinging? Would you swap a wife? Would you swap a wife? That just seems like a bad idea. I was talking about that with somebody. We were talking about like the whole swinging thing, and I don't think I could deal with, like, the thing that I couldn't deal with is, imagine your wife's boyfriend forgets her birthday. Imagine being the husband when your wife is cranky because her boyfriend forgot her birthday. Like the sex, other people, I mean, whatever, you know, I think I would just lose my fucking mind. I'd be like, what? What? It's not me forgetting your birthday. Look, I forget your birthday, fine, I get shit, whatever. It's time of the month and I get shit. Look, I don't like it, but it's how the world works. Man, can you imagine having to deal with a bitchy ass wife because her boyfriend forgot her birthday? I don't think I could do it. I don't. I'm not man enough. I'm not man enough for that. Anyways, don't really know what any of this was about. Hey Eli, what was this video about? I'm not really sure. It had something to do with sex clubs and Sam Altman fondling his sister apparently, and swingers, my wife's boyfriend forgetting her birthday. Yeah, I don't know, look, I don't know why you're here. Anyways, if you like these videos, you are a sick bastard, but give us a thumbs up. If you hate Roxy, give us a thumbs down. Call me amazing, call me a moron. Just be a real Lutnick and do it down there in that comment section. What is it? Silicon Dojo? Silicon Dojo is what I actually care about. Again, real in-person technology education classes in Durham, North Carolina. If you're interested in those, go to silicondojo.com. And with that, see y'all later.